And we're going to go to one that I didn't even know the terminology to use with this. Big K might not like this section. I think we're going to be a lot more in unison.
On?
I think we're going to be a lot more in unison for this, both us and the people in the comments. And I'm going to bring the tweet that, again, thankfully, was brought out by Last Word on Spurs. But this is from Tom Barkley, who has been saying quite a bit this week. And he said, Spurs central defender Eric Dier could leave the club in the upcoming January transfer window, although Tottenham Hotspur would want a fee and to sign a replacement in order to let him go in the winter. Now, first of all, I'll just say a couple bits and I'm going to throw it up to you. I'll bring this back up so I can cover me, and I've changed from a Charles.
Now you look like you're a handsome fellow. What happened?
You know what I feel like right now? Do you remember those game shows where someone does it and you put your arms and you're their arms and you play it? So that's what I look like right now. So I'm just going to read the bit where it says Tottenham Hotspur would want a fee and to sign a replacement in order. So first of all, when I look at the fee, this guy, whether you love him, hate him, whatever, this guy we bought for £5 million. He has given us the best part of 10-year service. When I say the best part, I'm not talking about best quality. The best part of a decade he's been here. Surely, with his contract coming up, if we can get him off the books, allow another player to come in. And the thing is, in order...
You can take the picture down, Brian, if you want.
I was going to say the other part just here. In order to let him go in and would want to sign a replacement, well, we already need an additional centre-back already, even if he stayed. Even if he stays, we need a centre-back. So now we're saying in our January transfer window, we need to bring a centre-back anyway. And now we're saying we'll hopefully bring in a centre-back, but then we need to bring in another centre-back in case Dier leaves. I would let him go for free. Personally, I would let him go for absolute free. But before I throw it up to you, we'll go to Ireland first. Big up to one of the closest people in my life,
Graham.
my fellow protester outside the training ground. Big up to Mr. Graham, sir. I hope you are all well. Ireland, over to you with Dier first.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to leaving in January and getting money for him, I mean, it's nice to get money for a player that, is obviously his contract's running out, and getting that money would be great. We don't have the means, despite Dier not being really useful at this point. We don't have the means or the players in. So if two center halves come in January and we get rid of Dier and we make a bit of money, that's the ideal scenario, because he's crap. He needs to go. He doesn't have the legs. He can't play the football that we play. But we do need bodies there. So if we do get injuries, we need to have somebody who can at least play the position somewhat. I'm not saying he's capable of much, but and just to give respect a bit to Dier, despite me slagging him right now, he has had really good periods for us in certain situations, depending on the style of football. So he's not useless to other teams. There's a fee that can be gotten there, especially in a January situation where maybe there's teams with injury problems and players are looking to move. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you on the let him go on a free and just keep him around. I feel like that, just because you never know with injuries, you having the body's good, and why waste any it's just sort of just a pain in the ass. He's just a pain. He's just like all the other players still sitting on the bench who shouldn't be with this team anymore, just collecting wages. So I guess that's the other thing. You get the wages off the books, which wouldn't be the worst in the world if the right players come in. So it really comes down to who comes in and who goes. That dynamic is what matters the most, I think.
There you go. So, Bobby, let me just throw this over to you as well. The teams that I've heard, or we've probably all seen the rumours that are interested, is obviously there's the reunion possibility of going back home to Sporting Lisbon. Bayern Munich, Juventus have been mentioned today. Roma with Jose Mourinho. They've all obviously think he can fit somewhere. I personally think the best season he had for us was Pochettino's first season, or second season, where he moved him into defensive midfielder. I think season. Yeah. I think he was incredible for us then. That season,
that was his best season for sure.
There was when Ben Daniel from We Are Tottenham TV was in his stag do, and we took over We Are Tottenham TV whilst they were in Ireland. we did a few bits. One of the bits we did was talking about something came up about Eric Dier, maybe hit a milestone or whatever it was, and we're talking about him. And I think in that position, he did do well. And the thing is, there are clubs where he can probably go on and do something, but I think he just needs out of Tottenham right now. What do you think, Bobby?
Yeah, I think some of the teams that you mentioned there, you got quite a few Italian teams in there. It's a slower paced league. They play more defensive football. It might suit his style a little bit more. But for me personally, I think it's very harsh of you guys to be hating on a guy that's provided almost 10 years of loyal service, getting close to 300 caps with the club. He's just been, an absolutely outstanding bench warmer. I understand that when he gets up, the seat is very, very warm. It's pretty much you got part of the tweet was making sure we had a player in to replace him. Well, we have them, but for some reason it doesn't seem like we want to play him with Dorrington and Phillips, right? The youth are there, and
so just quickly on
that.
I knew that was going to come up because it keeps coming up, and I forget the guy's name. He's got a handle on X or /Twitter, talking about Dorrington and Phillips and the reason why they're not ready. He's a guru of youth football. He's watched them a lot in the under 18s and under 21s that they played in, and he's basically said they're not ready. Like that's why Ange hasn't played them. Like he's on the bench for cover because you need to have cover when you got a ton of injuries, but playing them from the start, they just don't have the men's league mentality, physicality yet to play at that level.
See, this is the thing. I can understand that, and I can see Ange saying that. But I say, as a supporter, and obviously Ange Postecoglou and Tottenham Hotspur and any other team in the world that's running a team knows a hell of a lot better than I do, or any of us do. We're just fans, and we have our opinions. When they say they're not ready, I am more than prepared to see a not ready Ashley Phillips try, and if he makes a mistake, he makes a mistake, rather than I know what I'm going to get failed time after time after time in Eric Dier, especially when you're playing a high line and Dier and Davies have absolutely no pace. It's the tortoise and the tortoise, not the tortoise.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just think there's a risk in messing up their development. There's a risk in messing up their development if and I know that Ange is like, go ahead and make a mistake, and he's fine with that, and that's sort of his line that he says, and he said it to Van de Ven. It's why Van de Ven wanted to come to Spurs, is that freedom to play, and if you make an error, you make an error. It's not a huge deal. I do worry maybe less about Phillips and more about Dorrington, but just the level of expectation at that level could get to them, and they may not be ready for it. So that's my only thought on it. I'm not suggesting that I'm 100% right, but I do think we should be a little bit more aware of that potential downfall of what can happen to young players at that age if something does go wrong. We've seen it happen to other players, so I would just worry about that. To be fair, though, I'm with you. I would rather see him play than Dier every day of the week, but I can understand the reasoning is all I'm saying.
Well, you look at it as well, Bobby, and I'll come to you with this one. This guy, Ashley Phillips, all right, he's only played in the Championship, and it's about 7 games at that. The Championship is no mug league to whack especially in central defence. There's no mug league. This guy is also the England under-19s captain. So for England, I know it's the youth, and he's still got a long way to go. To be made the captain, obviously this is a manager's perspective, and he's playing against other 19-year-olds. You can balance it out that way. But this guy must have something about him if he's played in the Championship and done well when he's played there. You're looking at Van de Ven. He's the same height as Van de Ven. When you're trying to play the high line, we need pace and power. One thing that Phillips does give you over Dier is the pace and the power. So we see, but you know what? Let's bring in. He's made his way. He had to battle through the Denver traffic because the Broncos. Did you go to the game, Leo?
No, I didn't. I just had to represent.
Did Denver win?
They're still playing. It was the traffic to get. So I have to pass right by the stadium, literally like right next to the stadium on the highway.
Okay, so Leo, very quickly, we're talking about I'll bring up the post again, and we'll get your thoughts on it. Brian, you streamed with Leo before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Leo,
how you doing, mate? Yep. Cool. It's been a while.
Big up, everybody.
So let me bring up the Eric Dier tweet. Oh, now we can see. It's so good you're here, Leo, because I'm not cut out now.
Yeah. You were covered. I was listening on the way here. I've been listening on the way here.
Good. So what have you made? I'm going to read it again. Spurs central defender Eric Dier could leave in the upcoming January window, although Tottenham Hotspur would want a fee to sign a replacement, in order to let him go this winter. What's your thoughts on all of this?
I mean, it's just classic Levy, right? He's gonna hold on to any type of asset as long as he can to get any type of money. But look, I think and what's even weirder about it, Dago, is even Juventus now has been linked with Eric Dier for some reason. I do not know what other clubs see in some of our players, but at the same time, I don't see what we see in the players for such a long time and still have them at our club. But if he wants to go, I say let him go. I think Ashley Phillips, like you guys were saying, is it's time to see if he's going to be able to fill those boots. We did touch a little bit of on Ashley Phillips earlier. He's a tall player. You know what I mean. I think he's got some pace on him, so we might be able to get rid of Eric Dier and not really notice it. But that's just if we have somebody to fill the boots. And I hate to say this, but like, damn, we need a replacement for Eric Dier before Eric Dier could leave the club, right?
It's frustrating.
And so,
you look at it as well. We've been a club that always, like we spoke about this on your show earlier, Leo, on My House Spurs. The hold up with Van der Ven coming to Spurs was Wolfsburg wanted Van der Ven's replacement before it happened. I will go back, and the prime example I'm going to give in this occasion, and then I'm going to lead it into something else, was when Ericsson was leaving Tottenham Hotspur for Inter Milan, and we all know we wanted Bruno Fernandes, and we were heavily in for Bruno Fernandes. Rather than bringing the player in, so he had Ericsson's replacement, now say, Ericsson, off you go, we were like, let's get him out, get the money in, and then get him in. It's like we weaken ourselves to strengthen it. And you look at it, and I want to bring up David's, where is it? Yeah. Sorry, I did have it up. David's comment, and it's right. And this is something else I brought up, Ireland, on Leo's show earlier. Not what we're talking about youngsters here, but if you look at it, all the big clubs around us, Arsenal with Nketiah, Smith Rowe, Smith Rowe and Saka, Chelsea with Gallagher, James, blah, blah. You look at City with Lewis. All these teams, I'll go to you first, Ireland, are starting to play their youngsters and giving them a go. Maybe they don't want to play Phillips without Romero or Van der Ven, which I can kind of get. That I can kind of be like, right, when you first make your debut, I want you with a central defender that you can actually, that can see you through the game, realize what you're dealing with, and coach you through it and talk to you. I mean, do you reckon that could be it?
It's possible. I mean, it's hard to guess what the reasoning is, but that makes a lot of sense because I think when you have young players like this, the potential for them, their development to struggle because of mentality, because of pressure at a young age, that they might suffer a little bit, but. I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see it as well. And I just want to clarify something too. We do bring through young players. Maybe not as much as other teams, but Harry Kane was a young player. Skip was a young player. Harry Winks was a young player. There's a ton of players that have come through Spurs, young players, and have ended up playing in the first team. So they exist. So it's just. I think under this new regime and under the new sort of system of just the transfers and who's in charge and who's doing what, that maybe they're that's sort of affecting how they're gauging the players, the sort of where they're at, and I don't know. I mean, it's a guess at this point.
I call another one, but this is the thing.
Yeah, that's another one I was going to mention. I couldn't think of his name.
Bobby, I'll kind of do this. Like Ireland could be right that. But with what he's saying, obviously he is right that we do bring youngsters through, but obviously they're not coming through fast enough or quick enough. And other teams right now have a wave of them coming through. Like Arsenal brought Nketiah, Smith Rowe and Saka through at the same time. They had 3 quality ones coming. right now, all we're hearing and all we're seeing is that we do have a quality group coming through.
Yep.
So why is it other teams are able to do it? And this isn't me having a go at Postecoglou. This has happened with other managers. This has happened it's not just, oh, now why aren't Spurs bringing you through? You look through Liverpool's history, Robbie Fowler, Steven Gerrard. There's so many, that Trent Alexander-Arnold. You could keep going through and through and through with them. Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler. They all do it. Chelsea are started to. So why, right now, when we do have some quality coming through, and we do have some players that at the moment we know aren't fit for purpose, or sorry, let me take that back, the long-term future of this football club, when we spent this summer clearing the decks so there was no roadblocks. God, this has got to be the longest question I've ever asked you, Bobby.
Is this a question? I wasn't even sure.
This is a question. Oh, there's a question coming here.
The question coming, Bobby. Be ready.
Oh shit! I'm gonna get ready
I
here.
can't even remember where I stand.
All right,
but,
sorry. Okay.
but, you know,
Go ahead.
Take your notes. Take your notes.
basically, I'm
Go
saying,
on. All right. Yeah.
Basically-
Okay.
basically, I'm saying, isn't now an opportunity
So it was this
to
rainy
start
day.
trying some
Yeah,
of these
okay.
youngsters?
You know what, Brian? This is the season to take that opportunity, isn't it? This is the rebuild season. When we turn around and shelf our captain, sell our greatest player, we're clearly in a rebuild. We just happen to be doing way better than what was expected. At this point, I think we as fans should still revert back to where we were a few months ago, where we had no expectations. Let's just
I enjoyed that
ride
time. That was
goes.
good times.
Yeah, and we're, like Ireland, to me, I don't think we'd be as pumped up as we were if we were off to a poor start. I don't think we'd have any issue starting the youngsters if we were sitting in 10th or 12th right now.
Yeah, I
losing
think
games.
that
I think it'd be a different situation. I do. I
agree.
think just because we have done well to a certain extent, that he's relied on the players that we have, and now he wants to safety net the youngsters. Why? Couldn't tell you. Why have previous managers done it? Couldn't tell you. To me, the common denominator is the players. The players are rated at a certain level, and then when they come up, these managers, all of them, have said no, they're not good enough. So the common denominator is that our youth system is lying to our senior staff.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
One thing I do want to
That's
say.
the only thing I can think of. Honestly, that's the only thing I can think of.
Leo,
They're blowing smoke.
Leo, let me ask you this question. First of all, big up to Mr. Agambar. Hope you're
big
good,
up.
buddy. We'll have
Chris,
to
what you
speak
doing
very,
up?
very soon. Why you're up at
Almost 3 a.m.
Yeah, almost 3 a.m. unless you're starting work early. Leo, but chuck this kind of another way, because obviously we've got 2 Canadians, 1 Brit that lives in Canada, and obviously I'm loving my American sports, but what is like the American sports way of dealing when they have youth products coming in? If they're good enough, they're
Doesn't
old
work the
enough,
same
or
way.
is it they go straight in, or
It doesn't
is
work the same way.
No,
I'm not saying it
Yeah.
works the same way. I'm just asking how youth products are graduated through. Is it a slow, surely build up?
It just doesn't work the same way. They don't have a
It's-
football club. They don't have a system that does that.
I'm not just talking about
There's no way
I'm
for
It's
saying-
just totally different. It's
I know,
just totally
but-
different.
Hockey does in a way. Hockey
when
sort
it
of.
comes
They
to
play in college level, or they play
College.
in like for hockey. It's the league below, baseball the league below. But that's they either
have
play in
a
that league and then they
Yeah,
get
but
ready for the big show because they're good
American
enough.
football,
But-
they go straight
But
into it.
the teams aren't bringing them through. It's not like the Denver Broncos, for instance, have a youth system where they have players who can come up and play at Denver. It's just not how it works. It's not that doesn't exist.
No.
well, thanks for answering that question, Leo. I'm really, really happy that
Sorry.
you got
I didn't hear you say Leo. I thought you just asked it out loud. My apologies.
No, I
One
said
thing,
that.
one
Go
thing
ahead.
I do want to comment on about our youngsters is I don't remember the last time we had a squad going down as far as the youngsters that are doing as good as they're doing, right? Our under 18s and our under 21s or something like that are doing really, really good. And I don't remember the last time we were in that position. So maybe now that we are, and also our academy is drawing the bigger names because we did get that. I don't want to I don't know if I'm wrong, but the Croatian kid that we just picked up from
Yeah,
Hajduk Split
the
or
big
something
kid,
like
yeah.
that. That's a big coup that we were able to get him out of the big clubs that were chasing him. So that says a lot about our academy, I guess, if you will. And the fact that our squads are playing good and it's showing for even the English national team, the youngsters. A couple of our players are even one of them's even Ashley Phillips is even the captain.
Yep.
So we have the quality right now, and I think it's showing with the results that the youngsters are being able to pull in, and the results throughout the whole club. So maybe I don't know. I just want
Well, I'll
maybe
tell
it's
you what,
maybe things are turning a page. I don't know,
we'll
Dago.
see.
It's
We'll see.
it's
But
it's it's a shocking as the rest of the whole club has been, right? Just the whole turnaround through the whole club from last year, this time, Dago, how we were talking earlier, we were talking, it's a whole 180 compared to last season, right? And that even translates down to our youngsters. So, um, I
Very,
would like to see them get a chance, Dago. I would like to see them get some minutes. It's a shame that we're out of the League Cup because that's always the competition where you want to say, okay, let's give some youngsters some time, the Europa League maybe next season or Champions League. At that point, are you going to want to be risking those games by playing youngsters? I don't think so. So the time that they have to be able to shine is limited. So I'm glad that they're really taking the chances that they're taking. And if they are called up against Villa, if that's our next games, I hope they take it and run with it because that opportunity doesn't come. I feel like an Eminem song. That opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
Yo,
you got to lose yourself in the moment. I've got
Dude,
to stop breaking into
exactly
song.
right, bro.
So, right, before we go on to the final question, we go on to a subject that's going to be quite an interesting one. First of all, I'll say big up to Phil. It's always good to get supporters of other channels in,
Yeah.
supporters of other teams. What team do you
Big up.
support, Phil? And welcome to the chat. And also, a very good friend of mine has dropped in. Big up, Philly.
Yeah, Philly.
Yeah, again, do you know what? When this comes up, people like Ray Rooney at 16, they are, I mean, the size of that man and whatever. It's very, very. I know exactly what you're saying, and I agree with you. I'm one of those. We did it with Barnby. We did it. We've done it with youngsters before. Harry Kane took 8 loan moves, but we shall see. But the question I want to ask before we go on to that, how exactly? It's a good point.
That's what we're asking, Jonas.
Someone
man.
but we do. They just happen to get a few of them at the same time. I don't understand this. Like that doesn't happen.
They get them through, and they get the quality of that. You cannot tell me that skips and winks are the quality of Saka.
I'm not saying they're the quality, but we bring players through. It's like the quality of the level of them is a different question. But
so, first of all, for us, the final question. Big up to Ren. Good to see you, Hannah. Hope all is good with you.
what's up, Ren?
Phil, it's very, very good to see an honest, decent Liverpool fan that said something nice before. So welcome. And yeah, so the final question to everyone, there's 39, or I believe Chris was saying there's 42 in at one point with 25 likes. Let's try and get those likes up, people. But question for everyone in the comments, and we'll go around the panel. We'll go Leo, Bobby, Ireland. Does Eric Dier leave Tottenham Hotspur in January? Leo.
I don't think so.
Okay, so you reckon he's here till the summer and then goodbye, no contract?
Well, actually, Brian, hold on. I just thought about this. His contract is up at the end of the season, right?
Yep.
I don't know if Levy will let him leave for free, Brian. I think they get rid of him just based on that. Just based on that alone.
Okay, Bobby.
It's a tough call. I say
it is
yes, just because of what Leo says, but with the squad where it is right now, I say no. Especially with the comment Levy himself has come out and said that we need his replacement first. So no.
Okay, well, either way, it's going to be a sad day in the Kang household for Big K.
For somebody,
either in January,
it's a sad day for me and Chris, or for him.
Exactly. And Ireland.
We'll let you know February 1st.
I'm going to say the only way Dyer leaves is if the if the right team comes in and we get the right amount of money, it'll come down to how much money we get for him. So if 10 million, 15 million comes in, absolutely he goes. If nobody comes in with an offer, then he stays. That's But Levy will take the money for sure if he can get some money back.
Yeah. I've heard O'Reilly's been heavily linked, Angelo. I've heard that boy has been heavily linked, and I would love O'Reilly to come to Tottenham Hotspur. Do you know what, Ireland? I'll ask you finally just this question. Do you think Daniel Levy would accept the 5 million that he paid for him?
No.
You think he's still going to want to turn?
I think it'd be like 15 minimum.
15 minimum.
Yeah, I think that's what he'd expect. I'm not saying it's a good number. I'm just saying that's what Levy will expect.
Let's go now.
Especially if you're talking about Juventus or Bayern going there, or like any of those teams coming in. Those are big teams with money. So he's going to expect them to pay somewhere between 10 and 15, I would say.
So Sporting is where I think he's going to end up. To be honest, in all honesty, that's where I think he's going to end up.
Yeah.
That's a great. Do you know what? Now you said 15. Let's see how much people in the chat will think.
What's transfer market? What's the value on transfer market? I haven't checked that.
What will be for you the amount that says yes? Bobby, just an amount. What do you think if the team are coming in January and a number is put up? What do you think is the magic number for Daniel Levy?
I would say between 8 and 10. So since you want one number, I say 9.
Okay, Leo.
Me 7, baby. I'll get rid of him for 7. Make 2 mil.
Oh, what I'd get rid of him for versus what I think Levy will want. That's a different answer now.
Okay. True.
Valuation on transfer market, 18 million euros.
So
no
euros. Yeah. So what's that in pounds?
About
15, 14, something like that. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that, like, whether we all know him, right? Because we watched how crap he is for so long, and the frustration of like 70 minutes of good football, and then he shits the bed, and we lose a game, or we don't get a result. Like, that's the part that other teams or other clubs aren't seeing necessarily. So the valuation, for a player that's been in England international for a number of years. Played under Pochettino and had some very good seasons. You can see from the outside why people might value him at a higher level than what we do, because we've seen the mistakes over and over again. So I think probably between 10 and 15 is probably his market value for other teams looking at him. Now, with what Levy expects that number to be is different, obviously, than that.
So I'm
30 to 40. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to close this segment off by actually saying I think he accepts the money we paid for him. I actually think Levy will accept, or I hope Andrew's been able to say, listen, if we get what we paid for him, get him out, off the books, clear space, give me that money to spend, whatever. I'm actually going to say I think Levy would. Not saying that it will happen.
I'm surprised you think that, Brad.